What is happening, everyone? Welcome to another episode. And today we are going to look at the winners and losers from week one of the NFL preseason. It was a fun week. We had football. Football is back. There's no more weekends without it. I'm so excited about that, even if these are technically meaningless games on the standing side of things. But if you're trying to make the team, these games are crucial, super important. And if you're trying to kind of foresee the future, they might be really important too. So, all right, we'll start with the first. We're going to do three winners and three losers from this first preseason week. We'll do this every week during the preseason, and hopefully those line up with successful players, and hopefully the ones that are on our disappointing side can figure it out going forward. But this week we'll start with, obviously, I think the most impressive and biggest winner from preseason week one, and that is Shedeur Sanders. We already talked about him in previous episodes, but obviously, he had a great day. Let's take a look at his touchdown right. Shedeur just played great. 14 for 23, 138 yards, two touchdowns, no picks, calm, poised, and he pretty much did everything right for the most part. Of course, he's a rookie. He had mistakes. He was back there in the pocket. One of the plays, he got an intentional grounding. He scrambled out of the pocket so far back, it was like 30 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Then he got an intentional grounding call. So those are things that he's going to have to obviously learn. But when he's used to playing that kind of style in college, just like Caleb Williams used to do at USC, obviously that's a transition going into the NFL. So, all right, that's our first winner. Our second big winner of the preseason week one is someone we also spoke about because he just had a great debut. He is Jackson Dart. And here is some clips from his day. Jackson Dart played pretty well for the Giants. And obviously for them, they got Jameis Winston, they got Russell Wilson, so not much is expected out of him. But he looked great. I mean, he made great reads. He went 12 for 19, had 154 yards passing, one touchdown, no picks. And again, in preseason, what do you want to see about these rookie quarterbacks? How do they come out of the huddle? Do they have pre-snap penalties? Do they handle the pressure? And obviously now that you've been going up against your own defense for 2 weeks, now you get to face a different kind of defense. Can you read that? Can you see those kind of differences? And Jackson Dart just obviously played great. We'll take a look at another play here. He just had a great day. And the Giants should feel pretty good about moving forward. Obviously, not much is expected out of them this season. But, I mean, if he keeps playing like this, look at that beautiful ball right there. That was a touchdown, and that was just perfectly placed. So, again, Jackson Dart, big winner. No one expected much. People were ready to clown the Giants and say, oh, haha, you shouldn't have passed in Shedeur. Well, they don't look too bad after that. So good for the Giants, at least finding, someone with some promise. All right, and the third winner, we're going to go to wide receiver, and we're going to talk about Ted McMillan. So I expect this kid to actually have a great year. Bryce Young might obviously improve and get better, and we expect that. But he's got to have somebody to throw it to. They don't have a super deep wide receiver room. Adam Thielen is obviously a bit older. Xavier Legette I've heard, has been struggling during camp. And so there's a perfect path for Ted McMillan to be wide receiver one in Carolina. And here we go. Let's take a look at what he did. And this was his best catch. He had two catches for 43 yards. But this is a super impressive catch. And he just looks the part. I mean, he's coming out of Carolina, seemed to be that he's been doing great in practice too. And I mean, look at this catch. The adjustment slowed down to keep the corner away from him. And again, that adjustment is great. Look at that. He slowed down right there. So a great play. Obviously, he didn't have much. He had this catch and then a 13-yard catch in the game as well. But he played well, and he didn't get that many snaps, and that's expected. And good for him. So Ted McMillan, someone to watch out for, maybe even on your fantasy team. You might want to pick him up because once he gets his feet wet and starts playing a few games, he might very quickly already be wide receiver one for the Carolina Panthers. And Bryce Young is going to have to throw the ball to somebody. All right, biggest losers. The biggest loser, I think, of week one preseason is Anthony Richardson. And sadly, because he got injured on this play, and people try to justify this, but ultimately he is at this point not considered that young of a player. He's been in the league. This is his third season. He's dealt with injuries. And for him, it's not about the talent or how he spins the ball or all that. It's about how he reads and knows his knowledge of the game, essentially. And this is a prime example of him not really being able to read the defense pre-snap. And this is the kind of stuff that, like I mentioned, stats are nice, but in the preseason, can you protect yourself from that? I mean, this guy's just coming in. No one touched him. Boom! Just blasted right there. Poor Anthony Richardson. He has an injury to his finger now because of this. And again, this is just pre-snap. I mean, people have broke this down several times, and I'm no X's and O's expert, but, you know, he didn't have the right protection called. And you know what? The Colts don't have Ryan Kelly anymore. They're, you know, veteran center who's now a Minnesota Viking. And maybe that has to do with it. Maybe if he was there, he would be helping out with some protection here. But again, just to not be able to pick up where the hot blitz is coming from, right there, you have the running back coming out right here. Easy completion right there. You have blockers set up for the running back. And if you see that these guys aren't blitzing, they got to be coming from, they're either coming with pressure from this side or you're not going to be pressured at all. And I think he just assumed he wasn't going to be pressured at all, but the pressure's right there. And look at that. You toss that right here to your running back. He's got 16 ready to lead block. This could be a 20-yard gain if you just, again, seems very simple. And instead he got crushed. Didn't see it coming at all. And that's just kind of the mistakes that you can't be making anymore going into year 3. So tough day for Anthony Richardson. Hopefully he gets healthy and can be back and, you know, kind of plays better. At that point, he was 2 for 3 with 21 yards. So not much of a sample size with any, you know, with any action that he really played. All right. The second biggest loser, I don't even have a highlight for him because he was so bad. And again, I'm not going to, it's one game, it's preseason, and it's Ashton Jeanty. You know, the Raiders running back had 3 carries for -1 yard. Also in practice, mind you, they don't really hit. So for running backs, I think there's a bit of a transition of what to expect when you've been practicing against guys who've just been slapping your shoulders essentially instead of tackling you. And now you go into a game where guys are actually tackling. So there's probably a transition there, but ultimately not a great debut. A lot of hype around Ashton Jeanty. The questions are like, hey, he played at Boise State. Did he play at a big enough, power enough school to actually have an impact when you make that transition from college to the pros? And we will see. I'm not writing him off by any means. I'm just pointing out he had a rough start to his career. Again, small sample size. He could have broken off the 4th run for 50 yards, and then he would have had a great average per run. But he had 3 carries for -1 yards. It is what it is. We'll see how he bounces back if he plays in week 2 of the preseason. All right, and last, but probably least, because I also had hopes for this guy. I thought he was actually going to be good and put some pressure, you know, to be competing to get QB2 for Dallas. And then you never know, an injury for Dak. And if he lights it up, then maybe that creates more questions. But Joe Milton, reports where he was lighting it up in camp. And then he hopefully just had a bad day. He missed a lot of throws. And this is just one example of a throw that he missed that you got to complete right here. Play action. The guy is wide open, clean pocket. Even the announcer, he's listening here. On the line. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Clean pocket. You can't miss this. Not like by that much. No one's around him. Feet are clean. And it wasn't his only miss of the day, which is why the announcer is saying, oh my gosh, it wasn't a one-off. He really had a couple of incompletions that were this bad. So ultimately, yeah, tough day for Joe Milton. Hopefully he can bounce back and have a better day moving forward. But reports were that he was doing well in camp, and this is what we got in the game action. Again, it's preseason, it's week 1. There'll be more to come. So for now, those are the winners and losers from preseason week 1. And we will do this again for week 2, and we'll talk some more football as the week goes on.